Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
Abortion supporters chant "Hail Satan," while pro-lifers sing "Amazing Grace" in the Texas State House. Hi, I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action. Joining me today in studio is Steve Cramption, General Counsel and Vice President of Liberty Counsel. Well, Steve, the lines are being clearly drawn in the war, ongoing war between life and death in Texas right now. There's a special session ongoing to determine whether or not they're going to pass a bill that will set limits on abortion, a late-term abortion ban, essentially. And the pro-aborts are losing their minds, and we actually have on camera now a group of pro-abortion, CNN tweeted it out, confirmed this, a group of pro-abortionists chanting "Hail Satan,"
Hail Satan,
while pro-lifers give peaceful speeches and testimonies and sing "Amazing Grace." This is chilling stuff.
It is chilling. It's a remarkable spectacle, and it's as if Texas has now become sort of ground zero in the abortion wars. Ironically, Matt, I don't know how much you know about this, but they had a first special session about a month ago.
Yeah.
And at that session, they had a long list of items on the agenda, and this pro-life bill barely made it in. And so it was debated in that first round. Right at the end of the session, the dramatic kind of filibustering by the pro-abortion state.
Democratic Senator
That's
Wendy
right,
Davis.
State Senator. Yeah. And so now we are back, and the only thing on the agenda is this pro-life issue. And you've got thousands of people from all across the state descending on Austin and pitting this thing right before all eyes.
Yeah, and you've seen the images since this Hail Satan fiasco. You've seen the images outside of thousands upon thousands of blue shirts, people in blue shirts, and those are the people representing the cause of life.
Right.
And then you see a much smaller group, though, of very loud, vocal, dare I say, obnoxious people in orange shirts. Chanting "me, me, me." This is about me, me, me.
Exactly.
And my selfish conveniences in life. Well, this really has become a microcosm of what we've seen around the country as the so-called, quote, pro-choicers lose legislative battle after legislative battle. Their true colors are really coming into focus.
So true. If you could just kind of freeze frame, forget the legal issue for a minute, focus on the actions and demeanor of the two groups. It's a dramatic contrast, isn't it? Reminds me in some of our past pro-life cases of clients who describe, on the one hand, it's like you have the demons from the escorts and pro-abortion side, and angels from the pro-lifers who are gentle, who in this case singing "Amazing Grace" and praying. What's wrong with that? But somehow it so angers the left that they can't contain themselves.
Yeah. Well, this isn't the first time this sort of thing has happened. The first pro-choicer, frankly, from a spiritual perspective, was
Amen.
Satan himself. Christ, Scripture says that Jesus is the author of life. Well, Satan is the author of death. And what is abortion? Abortion is death.
That's exactly
That's really a flowery euphemism for what we're really talking about here. The killing of a preborn child in her mother's womb.
That's exactly right. And as this the legislation at issue here attests as well, it's a 20-week abortion ban. Now, the figures of the pro-aborts themselves show that as many as 90% of the abortions take place before this period. So it's not like they're just grinding to a halt all of the abortion industry. It is a modest measure in that respect, and it's built on the latest science. It's ironic, isn't it? The more science we develop about life in the womb, the more we end up with pro-life legislation. This one built on the notion that the baby feels pain. So, certainly by 20 weeks gestation. So if you're going to kill the child, at least do it in a humane way. Yeah. We honor our convicted killers more than we do babies in the womb in this country.
Yeah, it's sickening. But that too, you mentioned, that the pro-aborts, they want to keep science in the dark here. They don't want, we have another bill that has just passed and been signed into law by Governor Scott Walker in Wisconsin. Yes. That is even more modest than the bill in Texas, but it says that all abortionists must have admitting privileges to hospitals within a 30-mile radius of which is just common sense.
Exactly.
These women have perforated uteruses, they're bleeding to death, and this happens all the time across the country. Really basic stuff, and also the simple requirement that there's full disclosure, central to all medical practice is the idea of informed consent.
Exactly.
Well, the pro-aborts, it's interesting. It's like much of the progressive agenda, the informed part has to be swept under the rug because they know when people become informed, they reject the lies inherent within the progressive worldview. So they say that they have to have an ultrasound and just a topical, they have a choice, women have a choice of what kind of ultrasound, but they have to have the opportunity to at least see what they're killing inside of them and have a legitimate explanation as to when the heartbeat starts and all of those sorts of things.
I think you're right on. They want us to call them pro-choice, but a choice that's not informed. There's really no choice at all, is it? And yet they're desperate to deny their patients those fundamental facts about what's going on inside the womb. And sadly enough, I think most of certainly the young mothers that come in for abortion are ignorant of how far along the baby is, and in some cases maybe almost willfully ignorant, because when you do find out those facts, it's much harder to make the decision to kill your own child. And again, statistics show that those who have been provided with an accurate ultrasound, some 80+% will change their minds and decide to keep their baby. They recognize what's going on here. And of course, deep down they know that anyway, but that suppression of the truth is such a critical component to doing evil, isn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. And you've just moved us from the realm of morality into the realm of economics here. And that 80% figure that you cite of women who have the ultrasound and say, I'm not going to go forward with this. I think I'll head down to one of the crisis pregnancy centers and see how they can help me out through adoption and so forth. Well, what that means is a loss of millions upon millions of dollars to Planned Parenthood and others within the multi-billion-dollar abortion industry. Right. So doesn't it, Scripture says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And doesn't the abortion issue play that out perfectly?
Oh, perfectly. And so you have all their illusions built up and their mantras of, in Texas it's a war on women, right? And
my body, my choice.
Exactly, and blah, blah, blah. And sadly enough, though, they have this now relatively ancient in a legal precedential setting, Supreme Court precedent that they go back to, and they basically take an isolated line or two out of the Supreme Court's decision in Planned Parenthood against Casey, 1992, and say, you can't touch the woman's so-called right to choose until after completion of the second trimester. And a lot of federal judges just immediately say, oh, gosh, that's right, and sign off.
Well, to you pro-abortion women and men, I would ask you, you say, my body, my choice. Well, actually, no, it's not your body we're talking about. It's the body of a completely separate human being. You made a choice, and that child was conceived. You no longer have a choice to murder that child. So it's not your choice. And a choice to do what? A choice to dismember alive your daughter in your womb? Do you see the insanity of this? I hope you do. And hopefully you will come to recognize now, as your fellow pro-aborts, pro-choicers, if you will, are in the Texas State House chanting, "Hail Satan," while a group of pro-lifers are singing Amazing Grace, and they're for the sole purpose of trying to save babies, your child, who your instinct should be to protect that child at all costs, not slaughter that child alive. I hope you will reconsider. Maybe it's time to look at your worldview and to recognize that as in all civil rights struggles, there is at some point an event that really, I think, burns into the conscience of a culture the reality that one side is on the side of good and the other side is on the side of evil. Don't be pro-death, be pro-life. If you're interested in finding out how you can help Liberty Counsel stand up for preborn children, go to lc.org or give us a call, 1-800-671-1776. We're standing in the gap for those who cannot stand up and defend themselves. We would like for you to join us in defending the preborn.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.